Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into the surprising philosophical roots of our modern environmental crisis. Drawing directly from the translated English PDFs and source materials, we're going to see how the concepts of Dotong Jingyeong and flow-oriented communitarianism might actually be the blueprint for overcoming our modern ecological disaster. You know, we hear about climate change every single day, but we rarely trace these physical problems back to the underlying thought systems that built our entire global economy. So we're going to explore how a massive shift in how we view community, property, and the literal flow of our actions could be the key to saving our planet.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the ultimate paradox of modern human history. We have achieved totally unprecedented economic abundance. We've built these towering megacities, global supply chains, and systems that can feed billions of people. Yet this exact success has brought us right to the edge of an environmental crisis that literally threatens our survival. How did winning the material game become the very thing that might take us out?
Here is our roadmap to answer that today. Number 1, we'll look at the root cause of the environmental crisis. Number 2, the limits of Western communitarianism. Number 3, what is flow-oriented communitarianism? Number 4, Dotong Jingyeong as a new alternative. Number 5, practical cases in harmony. And finally, number 6, moving towards a sustainable future.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the root cause of the environmental crisis.
We need to look at this with the seriousness it deserves. That deep-seated anxiety we all feel about the future of humanity, it didn't just happen by accident. See, early economic development had a totally noble goal: uplift the human community. We wanted a better life for everyone. But in that aggressive race for wealth, we just left nature completely out of the group chat. We gained immense economic abundance, sure, but by ignoring the environment, we trapped ourselves in this crazy contradiction, facing the very real threat of our own extinction.
Moving right along to Section 2, the limits of Western communitarianism. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it shows us exactly what went wrong. Western communitarianism wasn't inherently evil, but it was structurally flawed in a fatal way. Its biggest missing piece? A total lack of a cyclic perspective. Because it didn't view the world as an interconnected, circulating system, it completely failed to balance the economy and ecology, which just poured gasoline on the environmental crisis.
Let's break down those structural problems. In its rush to elevate the community, it often totally ignored the value of the individual, which, ironically, is the actual foundation of any public good. It focused solely on material development. It essentially denied market internal excellence, using political pretexts that ended up impoverishing the economic environment. By acting like we only needed to serve the human bubble, humanity entirely disconnected itself from ecological harmony.
So, what's the fix? That brings us to Section 3. What is flow-oriented communitarianism?
Instead of a stagnant, broken system, Daesun thought gives us a brilliantly dynamic solution called Yuheng, which translates to flow-oriented communitarianism. Rather than hoarding, it visualizes goods and wealth as the result of continuous circulation. The whole principle is that as long as this flow isn't blocked, the desire to give to the community naturally bubbles up. It's an economy built entirely on giving, flow, and mutual care.
And this brilliantly illustrates the contrast. While the Western approach focused heavily on isolated material growth and treated nature like a limitless ATM, Daesun thought champions a philanthropic view of wealth. Individuals voluntarily use their resources for communal ends. And here's the kicker. Because it's built on continuous circulation, it inherently protects and harmonizes with the natural environment.
Which perfectly sets up Section 4, Dotong Jingyeong, a new alternative.
So the crucial point is understanding Dotong Jingyeong. This isn't just abstract philosophy, it's the mechanism for survival. It denotes a circulation where multiple systems interact through continuous flow. Unlike traditional utilitarianism, which, let's be real, usually just benefits a powerful minority, Dotong Jingyeong aims directly at reconciling the strong minority with the weak majority. It's built on an ethics of actual care.
By restoring this principle of cyclicity, you hit two birds with one stone. It satisfies the demands of both the individual and the community simultaneously. Everyone becomes part of an interconnected, flowing system of mutual care. And because of that flow, you naturally pursue harmony with nature. I mean, you can't poison the environment without disrupting the very flow that keeps you alive, right?
All right, let's ground this in reality. Section 5, practical cases and harmony.
How did this actually play out historically? According to the source texts, it started with leadership. Senji didn't just preach, he literally sold his own property to distribute it to beggars. He said, "I must first set the example." By sparking this flow of resources through his own personal sacrifice, he inspired the members of the Iljinhoa to stop their plundering and start using their own property for the community. That is circulation in action.
This same principle healed broken communities, like we see in the historical case of Jingyeong. Discord was turned into reconciliation by emphasizing that right and wrong are based on your actions, not your societal rank or power. It was a massive equalization that allowed fractured relationships to heal and flow smoothly once again.
Which brings us to a really foundational truth. The text reminds us that words are the cry of the mind, and our deeds follow a strict principle of circulation. Whatever energy, greed, or generosity we put out into the world is absolutely going to circulate and come right back to us. We literally cannot separate our actions from their ecological consequences.
Let's move to our final section and see how this builds together into a solution. Section 6. Towards a sustainable future.
Here are the core takeaways you need to remember. To stop destroying our planet, we have to ditch the stagnant limits of Western communitarianism. We desperately need a cyclic view of goods, an economy completely grounded in yuheng or flow. By prioritizing giving and circulation, Dawson thought provides the exact ethical framework our modern capitalist society needs to move past individual selfishness and stop wrecking our ecosystems.
The theory is solid, but now comes the real work. Our immediate task is taking the concepts of Dotong Jingyeong and developing a contemporary community model that can actually respond to the global environmental crisis. We have the map, now we have to drive the car.
Which leaves us with this final provocative thought. Fixing the planet starts by fixing the stagnation in our own backyards. So I challenge you, how will you apply this principle of flow and circulation to fix the imbalances in your own community today? What can you personally give, and what flow can you unblock to start healing the environment around you? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.